My name is Rachel Harmon. I am 34 years old. I am a licensed physical therapist in Portland, Oregon. I drive a silver Subaru with a dent on the rear bumper from a parking lot in 2021 that I never got fixed. My daughter's name is Lily. She is 7 years old. She has brown eyes and two missing front teeth and a stuffed elephant named Percy that goes everywhere she goes. I want you to remember Percy. He matters later. My mother-in-law's name is Gloria Harmon. She is 61. She taught fourth grade for 22 years before she retired. She bakes her own bread. She volunteers at her church on Sundays. She sends Lily birthday cards with a crisp $20 bill tucked inside always, every single year without missing once. She is the kind of woman who makes a room feel warmer just by walking into it. I am telling you this so you understand exactly what I was dealing with. The warmth was real. I am not saying it was not real. What I am saying is that it had a ceiling. And I did not find the ceiling until a Tuesday afternoon in October when my daughter climbed into my back seat and said 4 words that changed everything. But I need to back up first. My husband, Tom, and I met when I was 27. He is quiet, careful, the kind of man who thinks before he speaks and means everything he says. His mother raised him and his sister Carol alone after Tom's father left when Tom was 9. Gloria worked 2 jobs for 6 years. She is a woman who built something out of nothing and she has never let anyone forget it. Not in a mean way, just in the way that it lives in every decision she makes. She loves hard and she holds on harder. When Lily was born, Gloria cried in the delivery room. She held her for 40 minutes before she gave her back to me. I remember watching her face and thinking she needed this more than she is letting on. I thought it was beautiful. I still think it was real. I just did not know yet what real can become when it tips. I went back to work full-time when Lily was 4 months old. My clinic was 25 minutes from our house. Tom worked hybrid, 3 days in office, 2 from home. Gloria offered to cover the days Tom was in office. She lived 18 minutes from us. It made sense. It saved us $1,100 a month in childcare. We said yes. For 2 years it worked. Gloria picked Lily up from preschool on Tuesdays and Thursdays. She made her grilled cheese with the crusts cut off. She taught her how to make bread. She read to her. She took her to the park. She sent me photographs with the caption, "She's perfect," every single time. I will tell you the first thing I missed. It was small. I missed it completely. Lily was 5. Gloria brought her home on a Thursday evening. Lily ran inside ahead of her. Gloria stood in the doorway and said, "Just you know, Rachel, if you ever need more help, you just say the word." I laughed and said, "I think we are managing okay." Gloria smiled. She said, "I know you think you are." She said it softly like she was speaking to herself. I thought nothing of it. I closed the door. I did not write it down. I should have written it down. The second thing I missed was a comment on a Facebook post. Gloria posted a photo of herself and Lily at the park last spring. Caption, "Some days you are the parent and some days you are the grandparent and some days the line blurs and that is the most beautiful thing." 42 people liked it. Tom's sister Carol commented she chose the right grandmother. I screenshot it because it felt strange. I put the screenshot in a folder on my phone that I labeled odd and then forgot about. The third thing was a question Lily asked me in the bath in August. She said, "Mama, does Grandma live with us?" I said, "No, sweetheart, Grandma has her own house." She said she might. I said, "What do you mean, baby?" Lily said she said maybe someday. I said, "Grandma likes to visit, that is all." I rinsed Lily's hair. I told myself she was 7 and grandmothers say things like that. I was wrong to tell myself that. In September, Tom was promoted. His in-office days went from 2 to 4. We needed more childcare coverage. I called Gloria. She said, "I have been waiting for you to call." She said it the same way she had said the first sentence, like the answer had been ready for a long time. We added Mondays and Fridays. Lily was with Gloria 4 days a week. The calls started in October, not to me, to Tom. He would take them in the bedroom with the door closed. When he came out, he would be quiet for the rest of the evening. I asked him twice what his mother was saying. He said nothing, she just worries. I said, "About what?" He said, "About us, about Lily, about whether we are all managing okay." I said, we are managing fine. He said, I know. He went back to whatever he was doing. The third time I asked, he said, Rachel, she just loves Lily and sometimes love makes people nervous. I sat with that sentence for 2 days. It did not sit right. I opened the folder on my phone. I looked at the screenshot. I added a note under it, Tom taking calls in bedroom 3 times, October. On a Tuesday in the second week of October, I finished work early. A client canceled. I was home by 2:15. I texted Gloria to let her know I was picking Lily up myself. She did not reply. I drove to her house. I parked in the driveway. Gloria's car was gone. Lily's backpack was on the front porch. I called Gloria. She picked up on the fourth ring. She said, "Oh, Rachel, hi." I said, "Where are you?" She said, "I just had a quick errand to run." I said, "Where is Lily?" She said, "Lily is with me. She is fine." I said, "What errand?" She said, "Just something I had to take care of. We will be home in an hour." I sat in my car in her driveway and I waited. My hands were on the wheel at 10 and 2. I did not move them. 50 minutes later, Gloria pulled in. Lily climbed out of the backseat with Percy under her arm. She ran to me. She said, "Mama, I picked her up." I looked at Gloria over her shoulder. Gloria smiled. She said, "All good, just a quick stop." She carried 2 plastic grocery bags from the trunk into the house without looking back at me. Lily said, "Mama, I am hungry." I said, "Okay, baby, let us get you a snack." I buckled her in. I drove out of the driveway. I drove 2 blocks. I pulled over. I turned around in my seat the way you do when something in you already knows. I said, "Sweetheart, what was Grandma's errand today?" Lily had Percy against her cheek. She said, "We went to a building downtown." I said, "What kind of building?" She said, "There was a lady in a big office. She had a candy dish." I said, "What did the lady ask you?" Lily looked at Percy. She said, "She asked me who I liked staying with more. She asked if I wanted to sleep at Grandma's all the time. She asked if Mama was ever too tired to make dinner." I did not breathe out. I said, "Sweetheart, did Grandma tell you what the lady's name was?" Lily said it was on her door. Ms. Patricia Webb. She had a fish tank. I said, "Did Grandma tell you not to tell Mama about the visit?" Lily's eyes went to the window. She said it was a surprise. I said, "Thank you for telling me, baby. You are not in any trouble. You did the right thing. Do you want to stop for ice cream?" She said yes. I drove to the ice cream shop on Burnside. I bought her a single scoop of strawberry. I sat across from her and I watched her eat it, and I kept my face exactly the way I keep it in a session when a patient is in pain, and I need them to feel calm. Then I took out my phone and I searched, Patricia Webb, attorney, Portland, Oregon. Patricia Webb, family law, grandparent rights, guardianship petitions. I read her website 3 times. I put my phone face down on the table. I let my daughter finish her ice cream. I had 36 hours before Tom came home from a 2-day work trip. I needed every one of them. That night after Lily was in bed, I called my sister Dana. Dana is 38 and she has worked in family court administration in Seattle for 11 years. I told her everything in 11 minutes. She did not interrupt. When I finished, she said, "Rachel, listen to me carefully. Grandparent rights petitions in Oregon require the petitioner to show that the relationship is in the child's best interest and that denying contact would harm the child." She said, "What Gloria is building is a narrative. She is building it slowly and she has been building it for longer than this week." I said, "How do I stop it?" Dana said, "You do not stop it by confronting her. You stop it by documenting yours first." I opened a new note on my phone. I titled it Lily. I typed the date, the time, the location, the name on the door, and my daughter's exact words. I typed them verbatim the way I had heard them. I typed them twice to make sure I had them right. Then I called Tom. He picked up at 9:47. I could hear the hotel room television. I told him slowly. I gave him the name. I gave him Lily's words in order. I read them from my note. There was a silence. He said, "Are you sure?" I said, "I read her the words back and she nodded each time, Tom." I gave her ice cream and I asked her to correct me if anything was wrong. She corrected one thing. She said it was strawberry, not chocolate candy in the dish. Tom was quiet for a long time. He said, "My mother would not do this without telling me." I said, "She did." He said, "She loves Lily." I said, "I know she does. I said, Tom, that is not what this is about. He said, what do I do? I said, come home tomorrow morning, not the afternoon. He said, okay. I said, do not call your mother tonight. He paused. He said, okay. I hung up. I made a list. 1. Call Patricia Webb's office in the morning and confirm the appointment. Do not identify myself. Just confirm it happened. 2. Call Lily's pediatrician, Dr. Amara Singh, and request a character letter confirming Lily's health, development, and our attendance record at every single appointment. 3. Call Lily's school and request her attendance record, her teacher notes, her progress reports for the last 2 years. 4. Text Dana the screenshot of Gloria's Facebook post. 5. Write down every call Tom took in the bedroom in October, dates, approximate times, duration. 6. Write down Gloria's sentence from 2 years ago, I know you think you are. 7. Write down the bath conversation with Lily from August, word for word. I wrote until 1 in the morning. I had 6 pages. The next morning at 8, I called Patricia Webb's office. A receptionist answered. I said, hello, I am calling to confirm an appointment from yesterday afternoon. A woman named Gloria Harmon and a child, Lily Harmon. The receptionist paused. She said, I am sorry, I cannot confirm or discuss client appointments. I said, I understand, thank you. I hung up. She had not said there was no appointment. A receptionist trained to protect client privacy says no such person here when the person is not a client. She said she could not confirm. That was enough. Tom came home at 10:15. He sat at the kitchen table. I placed my phone in front of him. I showed him the search results for Patricia Webb. I showed him the Facebook screenshot. I read him the note from Lily's words. I read him the bath conversation. I showed him the list I had made. I gave him 6 pages. He read all of it. He did not speak for 4 minutes. Then he said, I should have told you about the calls. I said, what did she say in the calls? He closed his eyes. He said, she said you seemed overwhelmed. She said Lily had mentioned that dinner was cereal sometimes. She said she was worried. I said, Tom, I give Lily cereal for dinner once a week because she asks for it and it is Tuesday and she just had swimming. He nodded. He said, I know. I said, your mother turned a bowl of Cheerios into a pattern of neglect. He put his head in his hands. I said, Tom, I need you to choose, not tomorrow, now. He lifted his head. He said, I am choosing you. I said, prove it by sitting here while I make one more call. I called Dana back. Dana gave me the name of a Portland family attorney she trusted. Her name was Caroline Reyes. I called Caroline Reyes at 10:45. I had an appointment by 11:30. I sat across from Caroline Reyes with my 6 pages and my phone. She read everything. She asked me 3 questions. She said, how long has your mother-in-law had regular unsupervised access? I said, 3 years. She said, does your daughter have any documented medical or developmental concerns? I said, none. She said, are you willing to modify the current childcare arrangement? I said, whatever it takes. Caroline said, here is what we do. We are not going to wait for Gloria to file. We are going to prepare a formal parenting plan that formalizes your and Tom's custody structure with no third-party guardianship provisions. We are going to gather your documentation, your pediatrician letter, your school records, your work performance record. We are going to send Gloria a certified letter this week informing her that all childcare arrangements are under review. We do not accuse, we do not confront. We simply close the door before she walks through it. I said, and if she has already spoken to Patricia Webb? Caroline said, an intake conversation is not a petition. She has not filed anything yet. You have time, I said. I have 36 hours before she realizes I know. Caroline said, you have enough. I drove home. Tom was at the kitchen table with his phone face down. I sat across from him. I said, your mother took our daughter to a family law attorney without telling either of us. She coached a 7-year-old before the appointment. She has been documenting a narrative for months using conversations you had in the bedroom with the door closed. And she posted on Facebook that the line between grandparent and parent blurs and that it is beautiful. Tom did not say anything for a while. Then he said, when I was 9 and my dad left, my mother sat on the kitchen floor and cried for an hour. She did not know I could see her through the crack in the door. She got up. She made dinner. She never cried about it again in front of me. I said, I know, I understand where this comes from, and I am telling you it does not make it okay. He nodded. He said, what do I do? I said, you call her, you tell her the childcare arrangement is changing while we review our schedule. You do not mention the attorney, you do not mention Lily told me. You give her nothing to prepare, he said, and then, I said, and then we send the letter on Friday. Tom called Gloria at 4 that afternoon. I was in the next room with the door open. I heard him say, Mom, Rachel and I are going to handle childcare differently for a while. I heard the silence on her end. I heard her say, is everything okay? I heard him say, we just need to restructure. She asked if she could still see Lily. He said, we will talk about that soon. He hung up. He came into the kitchen. His face was tired. He said she knew. She said okay too fast. I said yes. He said she was ready for this call. I said she has been ready for a lot of things. That is the problem. Caroline Reyes sent the certified letter on Friday. It was 2 paragraphs. It stated that Tom and Rachel Harmon were formalizing their parenting and childcare structure and that all third-party childcare arrangements were suspended pending review. It referenced no specific incidents. It named no attorney visits. It was calm and it was clear, and it closed every door Gloria had been quietly propping open for 3 years. Gloria received the letter on Monday. She called Tom 4 times. He let it go to voicemail. She texted me once. It said, Rachel, I think we should talk. I showed it to Caroline. Caroline said, do not respond yet. She called Lily's school on Wednesday. The front office called me within the hour to let me know. I had already filed a contact restriction form the week before. The school had it on file. They told Gloria they could not release any information without parental authorization. She had no authorization. She never would again. Patricia Webb's office never filed a petition. Caroline confirmed through a colleague 2 weeks later that the intake had been closed.